Imagine meeting someone who seems perfect. They listen to every word you say, remember tiny details about your life, make you feel special, and convince you that they've never met anyone like you. At first, it feels like a dream, but slowly, something changes. You start apologizing for things you never did. You begin questioning your own memory. You feel guilty for saying no. You become anxious whenever they seem distant. And before you realize it, you're no longer living for yourself. You're living for their approval. This is emotional manipulation, one of the most powerful psychological weapons used in relationships, friendships, and even families. The frightening part is that manipulation rarely begins with cruelty. It begins with kindness. Psychologists explain that manipulators first create emotional dependency. They give attention, affection, compliments, and validation until your brain associates them with happiness. Your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical linked to rewards and addiction. Then, once they know you're emotionally invested, they slowly change the rules. They become unpredictable. One day they're warm, the next they're cold. This inconsistency creates confusion, and your brain works even harder to regain the affection you once had. This is called intermittent reinforcement, the same psychological principle that makes gambling so addictive. Because the reward is unpredictable, people become even more attached. Another common tactic is guilt. Instead of asking directly, manipulators make you feel responsible for their emotions. They say things like, "If you really cared, you would do this for me," or "After everything I've done for you, this is how you treat me?" Suddenly, saying no feels selfish, even when you're protecting your own well-being. Then comes gaslighting, one of the most dangerous forms of emotional control. The manipulator denies events that actually happened, twists conversations, or tells you that you're overreacting until you begin doubting your own memory and judgment. Over time, your confidence disappears because you stop trusting yourself. Once that happens, they become the person you rely on to define what's real. Manipulators also isolate their targets. They may criticize your friends, create conflict with your family, or suggest that nobody understands you except them. Isolation increases dependence. Without outside perspectives, it's much easier to control someone's beliefs and decisions. Another powerful tactic is playing the victim. Instead of accepting responsibility, manipulators shift the focus to their own pain. They make every disagreement about how deeply you've hurt them, causing you to comfort the very person who caused the problem. It's an emotional illusion that keeps the cycle alive. They may also use silent treatment as punishment. Instead of discussing issues, they suddenly disappear emotionally. Humans naturally fear rejection because, throughout evolution, belonging to a group increased survival. Manipulators exploit this instinct, knowing that silence often hurts more than shouting. Eventually, many victims begin changing their personality just to avoid conflict. They stop expressing opinions, hide their emotions, and constantly overthink every conversation. The most dangerous part is that manipulation doesn't always look toxic from the outside. Friends may see a happy couple while one person silently loses their identity. Research in psychology suggests that people with strong empathy are often easier to manipulate because they naturally assume others are honest and well-intentioned. Empathy is a beautiful quality, but without boundaries, it can become a vulnerability. The good news is that emotional manipulation loses its power the moment you recognize the pattern. Healthy relationships don't require you to constantly prove your worth. They don't make you afraid of honesty. They don't punish you for setting boundaries. Real love feels safe, not confusing. Respect feels consistent, not conditional. If someone only values you when you're obedient, that's not love. It's control disguised as affection. The strongest people aren't those who never get manipulated. They're the ones who learn to trust their instincts again, rebuild their confidence, and remember that genuine relationships grow through honesty, respect, and freedom, not fear. Sometimes the most powerful sentence you can ever say is simply, no. Because every time you protect your peace, you remind yourself that your value doesn't depend on someone else's approval. The moment you stop chasing validation from people who manipulate your emotions is the moment you begin taking your life back.